Everybody beware, you better prepare. Disaster can happen anytime, anywhere. Everybody beware, you better prepare. Disaster can happen anytime, anywhere.
Greetings, everyone. From Danger to Safety is a production of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA. I'm your host, Vesta Southwell. Today on the program, I'm so very pleased to have as our guest, Mr. Trevor Seaton, who is a disaster coordinator at the St.Kitts Nevis Red Cross Society. Welcome to the program, Mr. Seaton. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I understand that Red Cross had an exercise, I think, on Saturday. Today is the 5th. So what date was Saturday?
Saturday was the 1st of May.
1st of May.
And yes, we had a simulation exercise in collaboration with NEMA, who was instrumental in getting all the stakeholders together, coordinating and planning this activity. And so the simulation was basically coordinated by the Fire and Rescue Services and the St. Kitts and Nevis Defense Force. And the participants in this activity was the CDRT team, Community Disaster Response Team, and our National Intervention Team, or NITS team.
What was the theme of the exercise?
Well, the theme was to basically to improve the skills or response skills, and to do a response operation in the context of the COVID-19 situation. And so the persons has to demonstrate the necessary protocols while effecting the rescue operation.
Okay. Rescue operation. So what was the test exactly? What did it comprise?
Well, the scenario was a massive earthquake that impacted the entire federation.
Oh my goodness.
So the scenario assumed that the Fire and Rescue and Defense Force, as lead agencies in rescue, would have been engaged in other rescue operations. And so the Red Cross teams were asked to conduct this rescue of a COVID-19 facility, not being aware of the status of the victims, but to respond to that facility to assist with evacuation, as the building in the scenario was in a collapse state and the person needed to be moved.
Okay, so I understand that you're saying the building was in a collapse state. Is there anything more that you could tell us about the scenario so that we could sort of visualize what the challenges might have been and what some of the outcomes would have been led to?
Okay, so the structure was a large concrete.
What was the magnitude? Was there a specific magnitude? Just a large, huge earthquake, okay.
That affected
and it caused the building to collapse.
And yes, and so the fire and rescue would have been engaged in rescuing at other facilities. So that's give you an idea how massive that earthquake would have been. And so the Red Cross team, the building we used was the old Movies building.
Oh, down in town?
Downtown.
Opposite the National Bank ATM system there,
yes.
Okay.
And
so it was a physical exercise, not a virtual one?
Yes, physical.
Okay.
And so the rescuers were able to access the building from Atlam Street and to rescue the victims on stretchers and take them to a staging area at South Independence Square Street, where they would have been picked up by EMS or other responding agencies. But these other agencies were not actually engaged in the exercise. So it was just a test to evacuate the persons and to take them to a staging area where they would be triaged and picked up by other agencies.
Okay, so that was the test. Who were some of your observers? I imagine NEMA.
Yes,
have
we
been
had,
involved
we
at
had
that level?
representatives from NEMA, the Fire and Rescue Services, and also from the Defense Force.
Okay, so the CDRT teams, these are the, as you said, the community disaster response teams,
Yes, these are participants
comprising persons
from a number of
just the community?
communities.
Is it just the community
From a
persons?
number of communities,
Right.
yes, and some of them are Red Cross volunteers.
Okay.
And we also had members from our national intervention teams. Now, these are, the NITS team personnel are trained as team leaders to play a coordinating role. So on the ground, they would have been coordinating the operations with the CDRTs, giving directions and assisting with the overall coordination, dealing with radio communication and contacting the command base and that sort of thing.
Were COVID-19 protocols embedded within the exercise?
Yes.
Did you have participation from the Ministry of Health, for instance, or the task force?
Well, no, we did not have participants from health on the ground. However, the rescuers were able to outfit themselves with the necessary
Information.
PPE. They would have had on the face masks, the gowns, and other protective equipment.
What are the initial observations coming out of the exercise?
Well, from the evaluation session we had at the end, the feedback was good, both from those who acted as casualties, as well as those who observed, and the participants. And it turns out to be a very good exercise, and it emphasized the need for us to have more of it to build team camaraderie and to better enhance the skills of the different teams.
Can you speak to us a little bit about some of the challenges you might have experienced? I mean, it was Saturday, which is very busy in town, is it?
Well, Adlam Street was not too busy. Well,
Okay.
we had traffic department involved, and they assist in blocking off two of the roads, feeder roads. We had persons who came to the square to observe what was happening.
Just regular people from the public,
from
you
the
mean?
public,
So
yes.
it was well promoted, persons expected it?
It was not publicized in the media.
Just word of mouth?
But persons in the general area were informed, and
Okay.
we wanted to see the reaction of persons.
I
from
was
the
going to
public
ask,
as
that was
well.
going to be my next question. How did the public respond?
Yes, well, the response was quite good. As I said, some persons just came and observed what was happening, and they were not involved in the evaluation at the end, but we can tell from them looking on that they were very much interested in what was happening.
Speak to me a little bit about the role of the disaster coordinator of your agency. What are some of the challenges that you experience within that role, outside of necessarily that exercise? Because you are a valid partner to our agency, to NEMA. We partner on many, many exercises, as we did on this one, as well as we have stakeholder status throughout the hurricane season. And I think if there is any hazard impact throughout the Federation. So speak to me a little bit about some of your personal challenges in that role.
Well, I just came into this position in January, and so some of the challenges based on, well, considering the COVID-19 situation, being able to physically meet with some of the volunteers to do a lot of these training exercises. But as the restrictions being relaxed, we are now able to get together more often. We are currently working on increasing our storage capacity, and so that is something that we actively working on to make sure we have adequate storage for pre-positioning of supplies. This is being funded by the French Red Cross. And
they've been in a long partnership with you guys, haven't they?
Yes.
Because I think they've even visited us here at NEMA, and I think we had one exercise, if not.
yes, we recently had a logistics training program funded by the French, and so NEMA was also involved in that.
How do you attract volunteers?
Well,
Can persons just walking off the street and say, well, I want to sign up to be a Red Cross volunteer?
yes, persons are free, and we get that a lot. People visit the office and indicate their interest. We also have a Facebook page where persons can go and complete an application and submit it. And other volunteers spread the word as well. And so, yes, we have a number of persons, showing interest.
We have just under 4 minutes left, Mr. Seaton. I just wanted to quickly touch on the upcoming hurricane season. You did mention that you are doing something in terms of pre-positioning of supplies. Tell me a little bit about your preparedness efforts for the upcoming season.
Yes, so a major part of it is making sure that we have adequate supplies. And so we are presently doing some renovations of our storage facilities. The main warehouse at the Red Cross headquarters. And we have a number of what we call satellite containers pre-positioned around the island. At least 3 of them in the Federation. We are currently doing some major repairs as well. And so at this late stage in May, we hope that we will have those completed before we are impacted by any storms.
If impacted.
If impacted at all. And so some of the supplies we have on hand already, and it's just to put them in their different location. We have just received some radio equipment through the International Red Cross, and so that will enhance our ability to communicate,
of course,
among the volunteers in the field. And other than that, we are working with our CDRT and NITS team to make sure that their skill levels are up.
Yeah.
And we are now looking at, we use an app for assessment called ODK, Open Data Kit.
Yeah.
We are looking to brush up our skills in that area, so that our volunteers can be in tune with how to utilize the app for conducting assessments.
So can you please share at this time your contact information, just in the event that persons would want to get in touch with you to volunteer or for any other reason?
Okay, so the Red Cross office telephone number 465-2584, and my number 667-4848.
Email, anything like that, they can contact you?
Email at Trevor, that's TREVSEATON@gmail.com.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you everyone for joining us on the program today. Please join us again next week when we'll be back with you at that time. I'm Vesta Southwell. Blessed.
Everybody beware, you better prepare. Disaster can happen anytime, anywhere.